And this is where now addiction, because as Living Hope Therapeutic Center, I told you already, we are helping people who are struggling with addiction. Now this is where some of these addictions originate from. Every addiction, there are so many causes of drug abuse and some behavior, compulsivities and all that. But now I am relating what happens to a child as they are growing up, that deprivation, that pain, because addiction starts in pain and ends in pain. Even when it is like that and you do not die, do not just think maybe it is because of my own strength, it is because of my family, it is because I got money that I am able now to live and forget the past. One reason God saves us from such, it is that we also save another soul. Okay.
Thank you so much for watching. Today I have a guest and he's from Living Hope Therapeutic Center. Let him tell us what they do. My guest, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Joanne. My name is Vincent MUHANGI.
Vincent MUHANGI.
Yeah, it's a unique name.
I know.
And I am currently the director of Living Hope Therapeutic Center.
Okay.
And what do we do at Living Hope Therapeutic Center? It is a center that helps people who are struggling with all sorts of addictions. That is one, addiction treatment and management. Then we also have other services. There are so many people who are going through a lot of psychological challenges.
Okay.
So we also offer support to all of those in form of counseling. So we offer counseling sessions to married couples, to those who are trying to get into marriage, to individuals. So even you, in case you are not feeling well mentally, you can easily come and find us.
Okay, and nowadays, doctor, mental health is becoming a problem, especially the GBV, gender-based violence, is very rampant nowadays. We are getting stories from different regions. A man has killed a woman has killed a man. So I don't know, what inspired you to start such a project?
Well, thank you for that beautiful question. I think I can sum up in just one statement, and which is my background inspired me to venture into this kind of service. I was born into a family that was neither rich nor poor.
Okay. Average.
50-50.
You can ask for bread and they can give you.
And that is to say, in economic terms. But I was born in a family that was at its worst emotionally.
Okay.
This was a family that had its members who didn't even care what was going on. And so my growing up was really not a good one. Okay.
So you think if a parent out there, if they don't mind about their kids, though they provide, most parents think that providing material things, not maybe emotional things, they think providing a shirt, providing food, providing the dolls, the toys, everything, that it's enough for the kids. When they don't give them emotional support, for them they think the support that is supposed to be given is only the material part and paying school fees. So I think you're trying to show us that you had the material support, but the emotional support was not there.
Yeah, partly true, but also I told you it was neither rich nor poor.
Okay.
So even materially somehow you would actually lack.
Oh.
But to me, that wouldn't actually be a big problem if I lacked the material needs. You see, when you are a child and you lack material things, as you grow up, you get inspired to work harder and provide for yourself. But there is that lack that happens to you during childhood, which is even going to affect you. That even at a point when you are driving the best cars, when you have succeeded professionally and you earn a lot of money and you provide yourself with everything that you need, you will still stay hurting because of what you lacked as you were growing up, especially at that infant stage of 1-2 years. Now, people who have ventured into this, they tell us that there are two most important basic needs actually to a child. And one of these needs is attachment, and the other one is authenticity. Now, attachment is where this child feels cared for, feels loved from the mother or the father or the immediate caretaker. That is attachment. Now, when this child is taken proper care of, showered all the love in the world from both the parents, this child is able to grow maturely, and during its childhood he will be able to handle all aspects of social life very well. Now, the other, when that doesn't go as it should, now you'll have issues relating socially with others and also with yourself. The other basic need I told you is authenticity. Now, authenticity is being able to express one's feelings. What am I going through? Am I angry? Am I able to come out and say, Joan, you've done A, B, C, D, and I didn't like it? Now, when that area lacked as you are growing up, this is what happens. In adulthood, you'll find children who are now adults, but now going back to their role playing, that child who lacked attachment. So I want to get attached to you even when I had to let go of my own feelings, which is authenticity. I want to keep holding on to you. You hurt me, but I am the one who is actually apologizing to you. Oh, I am so sorry. You see, yesterday I didn't talk to you, but I was hurt because you said A, B, C, D about me, and I didn't like it. But never mind.
When the other person is not apologizing, actually they are the ones in wrong.
They are the ones in wrong, but me, because I have a deprivation within me.
Okay.
There is something that didn't develop when I was still young. That's why I have to come and take every initiative to keep you closer to me. I want to stay attached to you. I'm going to buy you gifts. I'm going to call you, cook for you, care for you, all in the name of keeping you as a friend. And Joan, if you bear with me, you have seen so many of such people in our society. People are dying in toxic relationships because of this deprivation. Someone has a boyfriend, has a girlfriend, and they are already sure 100% that this relationship is not working out, but they keep there.
But some keep there because of certain things, like, let me give an example of GBV, gender-based violence. Already someone is married, you already have kids, and you're like, if I leave this marriage, then how about my kids? How will they see it? How will they grow up without a father? How will they grow up without a mother? Now if I bring in a stepmom, how will these kids feel? So some people are caught up because of the situation already that is there.
Thank you. I really understand that. But for a relationship to be called toxic, there's nothing good in it. There's nothing like, let me wait, maybe he's going to change, maybe she's going to change.
If that person doesn't have kids, you can just go.
Even in an instance where you have kids with this man, Joan, but this man every night he comes home, he beats you to a pulp.
Quarrels.
Quarreling, that is actually normal to men of us.
Okay.
For many people,
there is quarreling and threatening to kill me.
This person comes and has warned you several times, I am going to kill you.
Yeah.
And actually this person is already involved into substance abuse. So anytime he's going to come, you think it is the other husband of yours and he's going to cut off your head.
Okay.
So what is going to happen to these children when you die in that toxic relationship? You see, that's what people forget.
Okay.
There is that relationship where you say, of course we are not supposed to run out of marriage or run out of relationships at the slightest misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But when it really goes deep and you have tried and you have involved parents and you have involved friends, the religious leaders have come to your home and tried to bring you back together and nothing is working out. And every day it's your daily bread. You have to receive serious beatings. They have to send you out and you sleep outside. You run with your last born, maybe the young one. You say, this is my child. That can also be a sign that now this child of the soothing the pain I went through when I was a child. It's quite complicated because what we were deprived of as we were growing up affects the way we will relate when we grow up. Be it at our places of work, be it in our marriages, be it with our children. So what actually needs to be understood is that as I grew up in this family, was I able to relate well, healthier,
or emotionally
with my parents? Some people lose their parents when they are still young, but they are caretakers who pick them up and shower them with love. That is okay. Yes, the loss of a mother, the loss of a father also has an effect on that child, but as long as there is a substitute, then emotionally this child can be able to hang on and grow and be able to relate in a healthy manner. And this is where we have gone wrong, especially in our families, the so-called the Jadens, those who have money.
Yeah.
So it is all about work.
And giving material, showering
so
material.
I
things.
must go and work and provide whatever my child needs. So they go out to work, spend nights there. A father comes after a month,
2 months,
and then
5
quickly
months.
they have to go back. There are those who work abroad. They leave the woman pregnant, with maybe 1 day pregnant. They come back when the child is 3 months or 4, whatever.
They get on 5 years
So
period.
this child looks at the so-called father and is scared. Who is this? All along I knew I didn't have a father. Now this figure is coming into our house, sleeping with my mother and calling himself my dad. That disorganizes the development of this child. And whether you try to befriend them, whether you take them out and shop for them, I don't know how
the bond is not there.
The bonding is not going to develop. Because at a certain stage where this bonding was supposed to develop, it didn't.
Yeah.
You were not there emotionally. When this child cried, actually inviting you to pick them up and show them love, you were not there. The child had to cry and finally
the mom
stops.
Was the one to pick the child.
Now, even the mothers are not there. They are busy. Because if the husband is away, this mother is the sole provider of this home. Physically.
So the maids,
so she has to
the
go
ones
and
that
feed.
are-
Yes, she has to run errands here and there. And so what she does, she will call the maid and say, aha, when he wakes up, feed him. When he wakes up, I don't know, give him the milk. But you know, this is just a maid. So this child is going to wake up while crying, feeling the absence of a mother. And this maid is going to come and say, aha, I've just fed you. Why are you crying? So he shouts. Now as she shouts or he shouts, this child is hurting. That is a psychological wound being developed onto the precious soul brain of this child. Now, by the time the mother comes, I don't know whether you've seen these children, when the mother comes, they already begin to, there's a way they sob. And the mother will immediately call the maid and ask, did you beat my child? Showing anger. Actually, the anger is coming out. And if it builds up so much, this child, upon being picked by the mother, will start crying at a very loud voice.
Okay.
Actually showing the mother, you left me here all alone, into the hands of someone who didn't actually love me, who didn't care for me. I was crying, she didn't mind, and now here you are picking me up, things are already out of hand.
Okay.
I cannot forgive you. And then the child cries. And these are kids who grow up with now anger issues. Now, I was giving you my background.
Yes, back to your background, Counselor.
Now, when I was barely 2 years, my mother had to separate with my father. But even when she was still around, she had no perfect relation. Let's not talk about perfect, because there is no perfect relationship or what. But her relationship with my father was not good. That's what I had. I wasn't there to see. Maybe I used to feel it psychologically and emotionally. But later on, as I grew up, I discovered they had always been fighting. Right from the time I was actually conceived. Because they met, my coming into this world was not like these other people who just meet up and they're like, wow, well, I want to start a family with you. And then they get married, they date, they marry, and they have a church wedding, people love them and they kiss each other and they are in love, they go for honeymoon. And while on their honeymoon, they say, baby, how many children should we have? Okay, I feel we need a child right now. Can we have a baby?
Okay.
Mine was, they just met, I don't know whether it was at a bar place or I don't know, in some corner.
Oh, in a banana plantation.
Or in a banana plantation. And it was all for fun.
Okay.
So they met somewhere and what happened between them happened. Now the next time my mother appeared before my father was bringing the news that she was actually pregnant with me. And my father said, excuse me, woman, who tells you of all the men you've slept with, who tells you I am the one responsible? Now that was the first time Vincent received a psychological wound, a feeling of rejection, even when you are still in your mother's womb. Because your father is not accepting you as his own. Now, of course, later on, my father was the last born of my grandmother. And so you know how those babies can be pampered. So finally my grandmother was like, no, if she's actually claiming to be pregnant with our child, bring her.
Let us take that child.
And that's how my mother came to get married. But things didn't work out.
Oh, they actually didn't take you as a child, they took your mother in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, they waited for the boy to come out and they keep the boy and throw away the mother. So during the 9 months of my mother's pregnancy, there were so many hurting words thrown at her, which I was actually receiving in her womb. And all this was forming my character, which up to today makes who I am. Now, later on when I was born, a lot happened, but finally, when I was like 1 year and 8 months, my mother had to leave. So she went, I was left into the hands of my grandmother. Thanks be to God, poor woman took care of me the way she could, to the best of her knowledge and ability. And I think if she wasn't there, I don't know whether I would be around. She really tried her best. But she was that disciplinarian again, who would even remind you, as I was growing up, as a teenager, she would remind you, you go outside, you delay, you come back, she reminds you. So you want to become
Like your
a womanizer, like your mother was. You know, rubbing salt into the already existing wound.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when my mother left, to me it was another abandonment mixed with rejection again. First, I felt rejected by my father, and now I felt I was now rejected by the only mom who had carried me for 9 months and who was still holding me somehow in her hands. And again, I was born in a time of famine, I hear, and so she would make sure she wakes up very early and goes to look for food. So I am imagining the number of times I cried,
You know.
waiting for her to come back. And all that kept hurting me and formed this emptiness within me. Now, as I grew up, right from my childhood up to maybe through primary level, up to the time I went to secondary, I had another. My father is such a tough guy, very, very tough. People have told me that sometimes I sound tough, that sometimes I even my face is tough, and I tell them, excuse me, forgive me. These are the qualities I inherited. It's not my own making. My father is tough. Actually, that time now is a little bit, I don't know whether because of experience, but being the firstborn, and he produced me when he was still young, that energetic young boy. So he gives you some work to do. I'd never had my father say thank you. Joan, do you know that word thank you? If it is not given to your daughter or your son, that son can grow up craving for it.
Or even to you as a person, let me assume you're working in an organization and every time they don't recognize what you're doing. Like every time you're criticized, not like they are telling you thank you for doing this, we appreciate you for doing this. No, the only thank you get is criticism.
Yeah, they only look for a mistake.
Yes,
they
it
only look
feels
for
bad.
a mistake. Now, as he was such an unappreciative person, I grew up knowing if I do not work hard and earn my father's thank you, then I better die. So you do even what he has not asked you to do, waiting for a thank you. And even he comes, he sees you have worked from here to there, and looks around and comes and tells you, so all these hours, this is where you managed to complete. And I'm like, this man. Now, all that was adding on to the existing wounds to form my hard character. But again, also to form within me that heart of compassion. Now, when I grew up, when I went to secondary, I had already accepted my life. That is it. I have a father who never even appreciates my academic performance.
Okay.
Not even a single day did my father say, oh, my son, this is good, or improve. Every time he looked at my report and he didn't study, but he would look at, you are the first one, you are, that time it was not like today where they are confusing. They would put position in class. And then he finds either would be the first, second, third. But then he would look at it and he's like, so why did you become the third this time? Right. And that negative statement would just kill me. So because how would I not read hard? I would read hard. I would make sure they never find me in any mistake, because if they sent me home for a suspension or what, that would be my end. And which helped me to actually achieve. So I finished my studies. But now, in my adulthood, I've come to realize that has affected me much worse than I expected, or than you can even imagine. Because sometimes I find myself wanting my space. You're there and you are like, no, don't disturb me. This time is my time. I want to have my time. But actually, when you have that time to yourself, you find you're thinking, overthinking, and sometimes I find tears rolling down my cheeks, and I'm wondering, why am I shedding tears? And this is where now addiction, because as Living Hope Therapeutic Center, I told you already, we are helping people who are struggling with addiction. Now this is where some of these addictions originate from.
So addiction is not supposed to be only drugs or alcohol, or maybe a person being a womanizer. There is that addiction from childhood, like you're not and like lack of emotional support can be an addiction.
No, every addiction, there are so many causes of drug abuse and some behavior, compulsivities and all that. But now I am relating what happens to a child as they are growing up, that deprivation, that pain, because addiction starts in pain and ends in pain. So when you grow up never appreciated, feeling inadequate, you are never enough. So when you are in a secondary school, for example, there would be moments in a secondary school where I would be forced to drink. Thank goodness I realized that my body was not compatible to alcohol, because I would take just a sip and I would be off. Now, but sometimes I would take that sip because there is a debate function at school and I want to participate in that function.
And you want to prove them.
But if I do not have something to give me that confidence, I am not going to stand before students. So I must drink in order to get a high and be able to express my feelings. Now, and this is quite general to many of these guys that fall into different addictions. Now, when, for example, that gap in you is not filled, you do not get treated, therapeutic treatment now, if you don't go for counseling and you hear, you are going to keep with it. You'll see a man with even grandchildren still doing things you cannot imagine at his age. Why? Because there is an emptiness in him. So even when he has money, even when he has a beautiful wife, they are not going to settle. The pain will always come back because it comes from the subconscious. It happened at 1 year or when he was still in the mother's womb. Certainly he doesn't remember it. That's why when we are doing these therapeutic treatment programs and you try to take someone back to their childhood, they will close up. Some will even stand up and walk away because they do not want, it is so painful, they do not want to go back to even imagine what happened. Some of my friends have come up to ask me, why do you want to resurrect what was already buried?
The void in them is very big.
I have moved on. There's nothing I have to look back for. I'm not interested in what happened when I was a child. But now it is actually showing in the way you are relating with your fellow workers at your place of work.
And the way you're relating with your family, your wife.
With your family, of course, that's the first impact. You have a wife, and every time this wife doesn't say thank you, you fight. I'm always very conscious because I grew up with a father who didn't thank me, appreciate me. In me, I also, of course, picked it. I picked it, and nowadays, my wife always reminds me that I've not appreciated her efforts. To the extent that sometimes I become even blind to the earrings, those small things you ladies fancy. The new earring, or when she goes and does her hair, and I don't know her nails, and she comes, and then you see her like, baby, and I'm like, you mean you can't notice anything about me? Why are you not appreciating my beauty?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yee! Now, because I understand where it comes from, then I am quickly able to say, oh, I am sorry, oh, you look cute. But now, someone who has not started this journey of awareness, self-awareness, when the wife says, you are not appreciating my good looks, can't you even have see that I've made up my hair? This one will quarrel, and the fight can even ensue from there.
Yeah.
Now, why do we need healing? So that we do not bleed on other people who did not hurt us. So my life history, there was a lot I went through, and one thing I thank God for is that finally I was able to understand the origin of some of the behavioral traits I have. And I still have them, by the way. The mistakes we make is even people who go for therapy, even people who study counseling psychology, we think we have mastered. I am now okay. This is a journey that ends when you die. Okay. Even when you think you have healed, not until somebody comes and scratches your back, and then you realize, whee, you are very furious instantly, or you find you are very agitated, you have hatred feelings for someone who actually has done nothing to you. But why? You are scared, you feel there's you're not free, you think you are going to lose something because of the other abandonment that took place. You want to possess people. When you make a friend, you want them to be your friends, to the extent that when you see them with another person, you feel hurt. Some people even will warn you, if you still want to be my friend, I don't want to see you talk to the other one. That's where it comes from. Okay. Now, when you have not understood this kind of friend you have, you'll say is bad, you'll say is also, I can't tolerate this kind of behavior. But when actually, if you try to understand that he has been suffering from loneliness, and that's why he wants to own you, he feels scared that the imagination of you leaving her or him. So, like what we talked about, those who die into a relationship. Now, you are talking about those who already have children, but I've received clients who are still young. But this person has been crying, has not eaten for a week.
What?
And the reason is because probably the girlfriend told him, I no longer want to have anything to do with you. And somebody comes and they are almost dying. Now, if you do not understand, you say, now look at this fool.
How can a girl
just chuck you? Was she the only one? Can't he move on and look for another one?
For a full week.
Now, to this person, this was his word. Now, telling him, I do not want to have anything to do with you, is an immediate reminder of the father who abandoned him and the mother and went away and married someone else. Now, this action of the girlfriend has triggered the emotional trauma that this guy has been having for many years. So when he comes to you as a friend or as a counselor, then you are supposed to understand without any judgment. And this is the journey I've had to go through. Some people have misunderstood me. Some people have maybe thought I only want things to be done my way, or I should be having everyone. I am the center of focus. And it is true, sometimes I be there and I'm calling this one, you no longer come to visit me, you no longer even say hi, Kare, so I'm no longer, and you are like, finally you ask, when sense comes back, you are like, but why am I doing this? somebody might even be busy with the world. It is hustle life these days.
Yeah.
Someone is not even thinking of what you are actually imagining, but for you, because you were abandoned at some stage, you think now this one also has abandoned me because they are no longer associating with me just the way they used to. Attachment issues, because I should run to this person during my time of need, my time of trouble, which is a characteristic of attachment called safe haven. That when I feel insecure, when I feel I am threatened, I should run to this figure I feel attached to. So now when I see this figure not giving me time, then it breaks my heart even more, and I bleed. And JOANA, let no one deceive you that there is no one who is superior or who is so strong not to suffer from this. Only that some want to prove that they are men, they are women of valor, they are, you don't know, very, no me, these things are sure. When he goes, that is it. Chapter closed, I open another chapter. I am a man. I am just like, I don't know, you throw me there, I thrive, and I pick from there.
Yeah.
But you will pick from there. You have seen people who, from one relationship, immediately they fall into another one. They actually want to show the other one, no, you are not the only one. I have moved on. Life doesn't end with you. But later on, if you follow them, this person is going to even fail with this one, because the wounds are still flesh, and they will start wanting this new partner to actually heal the wounds they got because of the other one. Yes.
Okay. Counselor, last words, or how can a person, like, if they are inspired by maybe the way you were inspired to start up such a thing, how can they get into contact with you, and where is Living Hope, and how can Living Hope help these people? Thank you so much. First of all, I want to tell people who are watching us that if you are going through something, it is not the end of your life. There is life after suffering. There is life after torture. If there is one reason why you are still alive amidst all the troubles you've gone through, it is because God still has a purpose for you. Okay. It is when you've been trained, not by teachers now, but by this experience. Sometimes I tell my friends jokingly that I was trained in a school of torture by my stepmother. That's another story I didn't tell you. I got a stepmother who really taught me life lessons. That will be for another session, yeah. Now, even when it is like that and you do not die, do not just think maybe it is because of my own strength, it is because of my family, it is because I got money that I am able now to live and forget the past. One reason God saves us from such, it is that we also save another soul who is suffering. So people who are watching us out there, and you've been going through some of these psychological challenges, you feel abandoned, you feel angry most times, and you do not know why. Sometimes you have people who love you, they are all around you. There are people who reject love. Everyone who proposes, you are like, no, you go away. Those ones are because someone broke their heart at some point. So they are scared that even this one is going to break them. Okay. And so we have many of these young people failing to get into marriage because they are going to be broken once again. So life has to move on.
continue. But what I want to encourage you to do is to seek for therapy. Look for a professional counselor and talk to him. At Living Hope Therapeutic Center, we do this. We are found in Kakoba, in Chapotani, in Mbarara. So when you are around or when you come around, you can come and check on us, and we'll discuss more about what brings that pain within you. For those of you who are a bit far away from Mbarara, you can also reach us on our contacts. 0777 053 777 0777 053 777, or Airtel 0752 1458 70 0752 1458 70. We will gladly help you out. We are all wounded healers. There is no one who is safe. There is no one who can claim, I am okay, me, I do not have any issues. You might be very rich, you might be having a very good family, but if you do not receive healing, your family members might actually pick the pain that you yourself is having. So heal yourself and heal your other generation. Thank you so much, and God bless us all.
Okay, thank you so much for watching. This was my guest, Doctor, you said the Counselor Vincent. This is not these other counselors that the political counselors. No, this is a mental counselor, and please get in touch with him. Until next time, we are going to be discussing on another issue about mental health. We meet. Bye bye.